We're going to focus on the mouth for this lesson. Now, if you remember this pretty lady, we use this to explain how to measure a face and generally proportions of a face, especially something like this is great when you're creating your own characters. So you can measure an eye's width between an eye to the next eye, the length of the nose to the mouth, which lines up generally at the center of the eyes here. Now, we can talk a little bit about anatomy. It does help to understand how the mouth works, but know that the mouth is kind of on, our faces are round and we're on a little bit of a cylinder. Our mouth is a fairly shapely and interesting feature to draw on a face, kind of like a nose. You don't need to memorize every bone or every muscle in the facial anatomy, but understanding what it does and how it moves in your head can be a little helpful. Important thing to know is how much a whole face can change when the mouth moves, when the person's speaking or smiling, smirking. There's so many different features that change when the mouth is expressive or moving. And so we're going to do studies. We're going to draw these guys' mouths. We're going to draw some ladies and two gentlemen here. And if you remember, we use these reference pictures to do studies. So we drew a bunch of noses. And this is a great way to develop your drawing skills, to develop a drawing habit. We're going to get right into it. I'm just going to use a pencil. I've got a big messy eraser on hand. I'm going to clean it off on my jeans here just a little bit. The messy erasers can mess up your paper. So when I draw faces, yes, I keep in mind the structure of the face, the bone structure, the muscle structure. It's kind of all in there, but predominantly I'm looking at the shapes in front of me and I measure the shapes against one against the next. Let's do Julia Roberts. Let's start with her mouth. So she's got, and I often do this over the mouth, over the shape of anything, so it makes it easier to mimic on page. Now there's a center of the mouth, just to keep myself, right? She doesn't have a big dip in here like some people do. Got beautiful full lips. Sort of a, so there's a shape here, that dark, where the shadow is. And there's another shape here. Now, you can see she's got this expressive mark, right? So we're not going to go as far as the nose. Okay, so this gets us our shape. There's a darkness here, but it's lighter here. You see that? Now this is not a super big picture. This is enough to get me a feel to do sketches of mouths. And they're going to be quick. Got a bit of a shape here. So there's quite light here and here. That is where the light kind of hits the shape of the lip, the sort of nice luscious roundness of the lip. Okay. trying to match value for value. She's got sort of marks. Okay. So that's a good rough sketch. Now, some people like to present lips as a sort of, um, with different shapes, which you can do that. So this is like a teardrop, and then that gives you sort of, so that's good when you're just kind of making up full perfect lips. But those aren't even her lips, right? And yes, it's going to be darker, sort of where the upper and bottom lip meet. Makeup will change your lip quite a bit, right? So this is a good made-up lip, but we're learning to draw what we see here. Right? Most lips are kind of weird looking. So let's say we move down to this fella. Now, teeth are complicated. And you'll notice that these teeth, they're never as white. They're never like white like you think they're going to be. So I'm going to just put him right here. We'll do him here. I'm going to mimic the... And I'm doing this with one pencil. I'm not doing this with an array of HBs and H's. Right, so he's got his right in the center of his nose, which is interesting, right? But not in the center of his lip. Got this tiny little... So I want you to do this as sketchy as you need to. Draw very lightly so that if you feel like you need to erase. Now I'm seeking the shapes. I'm seeking first the overall shapes. So like this right here is a shape. I like that Owen Wilson's teeth aren't 100% perfect. He's like a real dude. Okay. So there's the shape in here. And then there's this another tiny little shape. Like a little triangle here. Another little triangle here. Another big triangle here. Got this nice little... Okay, so all these little, so this is like a little shape. There's sort of a little triangle where it's lighter. You can see most lips, they don't have some defined line. The lips that do, for instance here, it's makeup. Some people do have these beautiful rosy lips, but most people just don't. You can see there's sort of a lightness happening here. Some of it's on the outside of his lip. Some of it moves into the inside of his lip. Right? So I'm basically creating a contour drawing. I'm basing it on what I see here. I'm not spending a lot of time. I'm not measuring anything against anything, except I'm just eyeballing in this case. Like this nice sort of fleshy little Now the ends of our mouths, everyone's a little different. Some people have something that sort of upturns their mouth at the end. That's kind of nice, fleshy little triangles. Not everyone has that. Okay. So now I can go in and add a little value. Darks to lights, shading, also known as. I can see there's some shading going on in here very lightly, and then there's like nice white. So teeth, even the whitest of teeth. I'm gonna remove my line here. He does have a tiny little. So these are his center of his teeth. And if you look at his face here, this is his center two teeth. But they are in the center here. His face is on a little bit of an angle. But his nose, probably been broken. That's a quick sketch, right? I can go back and play a little more and do more drawings. I'm going to do more drawings. I suggest you try and do each one of these mouths. Grab this guy, this PDF from the website. I do have it in color, so you can experiment in color. I do find that printing it out in black and white when I'm going to draw it in black and white is much more helpful. But yeah, let's do some drawings. I'm going to do studies. So studies of mouths. If you found this helpful, please subscribe and like and share with anyone who you think might want to draw along with us. When you're new at this, you might struggle with doing a face on an angle like this. I think this is kind of a 3/4 sort of angle. There are all these little shapes here. So if this is the top of her lip here, this is kind of this shape here. She's got like a little triangle. She's got all kinds of cool little triangles. A little oval, nothing hard, right? There are all these little shapes. She's got this cute little upturned mouth. She's got this nice fleshy little thing at the edge here. Right. Okay, so this is like a little triangle. So you're going to do this very lightly. You're going to build it together. It can be as sketchy as you need it to be. Right, she's got these cute. So this is a triangle. If you see the shapes, look for the shapes. So this, there's a part of you that's going to want to put the center of her teeth like in the where you think the middle is. But you've got to look at, so it's the center of her teeth is actually just before her lip. So I can correct a little bit. I've got that a little wide. You're going to correct a lot as you go. And then that's the middle of her tooth about here. Okay. So then the edge of her tooth, because it's on an angle, right, is right here. So then we've got this tiny little, and then this side of her tooth. It might feel weird because you're really examining the face, right? What do we got? Right here, so I'm not over far enough. Get my eraser out. Correct as you go. This whole process is basically about making mistakes. And sometimes you might even forget what your mark meant. So don't feel silly. That's normal. So there's more of a... Okay, so now to build out her lip here, you can build it out with all the little shapes here. It's a cute little triangle here. It helps you get your lip together. And there's a slight overlap here. So it's okay if it kind of ends here. And then she's got... her lip actually goes down more. I'm making much darker marks than I normally would to make sure you can see it. So I'm drawing along with you so that you get a good feel for when you're drawing an actual person or something in front of you. There's this whole process that you go through, and it's learning to see, it's measuring for sure, but you make mistakes. And the more you do this, the easier it gets. So like in this shadow, there are all these other sort of shapes, right? Kind of made a mark on there by mistake. I didn't mean that. No, I didn't. So right now I feel like her lip is a little too full. This guy out. When you're drawing with a nice little 4H or 2H pencil, you don't really need to erase as much. Unless you've just got so many lines you've confused yourself, and that happens too. But it's basically a process of trial and error. So if you find you're making more mistakes than correct things, then you're on the right path. Yeah, so I've made her lip really high up here. It's too high. Just gonna bring her down a notch. Now, when you're drawing something big, these are supposed to be quick studies so that you get used to seeing. You can do each one of them several times. If you feel like you've got it fairly well done, good. If you get frustrated and you're not quite getting it, there's a few things you can do. One, walk away. When you come back to a drawing, you will then see things that you didn't see before. Like I can already see that I've got her upper lip. It's far too big. Bottom lip's probably not too bad, but her upper lip could probably be kind of more down here, and I'd have her more accurate. But this is a very quick study. So I want you to fill your page full of these lips, and do noses, do eyes, do studies. This is how you'll get good. This is how you'll get good at the contour, and then adding value. This is how you'll see the darks and the highlights and the midtones by doing. So let's get drawing.